Thank you so much for that, Richard. Thank you for that very, very positive take, and for reminding us all of all the many things that we have to be thankful and positive about in terms of the opportunities that the city faces. Thank you so much for that. And we're definitely coming back when the bees come, whether you invite us or not. That's something we definitely have to see. Can I now pass over finally in terms of our speakers to Mark?
Thank you. I'm not planning to use a mic. Can you hear me at the back okay? Excellent. Because normally you hand one of these things, it's either a nice clean cone, or you want me to sing and you don't want to hear me singing. Seriously. Isn't it great to be out? Isn't it? This is my second day out doing real life stuff. It's brilliant. And then Brian, you're as impressive in real life than you are on the screen. Well done. Thank you.
I'll take that.
I'm from AAB Consulting. We're a change and growth consultancy, hence why we were really interested in this, because it's the change that we're really interested in. We are, of course, part of the wider AAB Group, which is a large accountancy business services company, got 500-600 people across the UK. Strong presence in Aberdeen, Glasgow, Edinburgh, again, hence why we're really interested. What we're really interested in is what all this means for our clients. Brian, sorry, I apologise again for how many times I went on about, yeah, that's all great, what does this mean for our clients, which are largely SMEs across the cities. And we think it means a lot for the clients, so it's been great to be involved. At a personal level, I have been in awe of the intellect at work between yourself, Mark and John, and just seeing this report coming together has been fascinating. So it's all been great. The report's great, love the report, really interesting, really insightful. As is my one, I come back to the so what, and it's always the case with reports like this, is so what does this mean to my business, what does it mean to the businesses that we support, and what does it mean to all of you as well. So that's not the job of the report. The job of the report, I think, is to set the context and give some tools to help have that conversation going forward. Scenarios, I think, will be especially useful for that sort of thing, so looking forward to seeing the next stage of the conversation. So what I'm going to do is just take 5 minutes or so, no more than that. I'm sure you've heard plenty this morning, just to share 3 observations that I've taken from my involvement in the report and the report in itself. And those observations are a lot has happened, but not a lot has changed. And I'll elaborate on some of that. The main thing for me is we need to stop talking about stuff and start doing stuff. There's lots of things in the 2018 report, there's lots of things in this report. Let's get on and start doing some things rather than talking about lots of things. And actually, the most important thing, largely for our client base, is that there are windows of this is a window of opportunity for lots. You thought, how many houses did you think needed retrofitted in Glasgow?
Glasgow City region, 450,000.
You described that, Brian, as a challenge. I see that as a massive opportunity. Who's going to do that retrofitting? Who's going to do the retrofitting of the transport network, the utilities, all of those things? Somebody has to do that. So that's a massive opportunity as well as a massive challenge, I think. So I'd like to take these 3 things in hand. So a lot has happened, of course, a lot has happened. What's really changed? Looking back to the 2018 report, and I'm sure before that, cities are important. Cities are still important. Not a lot has changed in there, they're still important. They might be important in slightly different ways, they're still really important. So what does that really mean? What's the so what on the back of that? The report talks a lot about we live in an uncertain world. Absolutely, I think we always have lived in an uncertain world. We always will live in an uncertain world. It's about how we are able to respond to that uncertainty on an ongoing basis. And I mean, government level, business level, whatever level you're at, how do you respond to that uncertainty? It's not going away, we're going to remain uncertain. And in 2018, I think it was talking about we are slow to react. I'm not sure there's much change. There's some good examples through the pandemic of us being quick to react and get things done quickly. Jury's out for me on, do we go back to the old ways of being much slower, or do we take some of the good lessons from that going forward? So a lot has changed, a lot has happened, but I'm not sure there's masses of things that have changed at a level, I'm sure. We need to stop talking and start doing. The previous report again talks about being fleet of foot, for example, and react to the change and take the opportunities. It talks about cities needing to be much more collaborative, and I think that comes out in this particular report as well. And it talked about the need to move at pace, which which is all great things to say, and we say that all the time, don't we? We see it in the latest economic strategy for transformation. Does it actually happen? Is it going to happen? What's going to be different this time round is my challenge. So I'm not seeing much by way of being fleet of foot, other than the necessary response to the pandemic. I'm not seeing much beyond that. Some of the developments that I've seen more, and you talked earlier on, Brian, about the green free port states. So how do you get different regions to collaborate with each other? Well, what you're actually doing is introducing competition in the system. You've got how many of regions, 5, 6, 7 regions across the country competing with each other. So why wouldn't we borrow scale, of that term, borrow scale, why wouldn't we borrow scale from different areas rather than introducing competition? So that collaboration thing is going to be quite important, I think. And finally, the whole thing about where the opportunity is, and I do see opportunity for government, I see opportunity for business, and actually I see opportunity for chambers. And maybe you're already taking the opportunity, so you'll soon tell me when I explain what I mean. For business, there are many businesses out there, you may be some of them, you'll certainly be aware of them, that are relying on cities, either for customers, for employees, for whatever it happens to be, they're relying on cities. But things are changing, so if you're a property developer within a city, what does this mean for you? What are the opportunities for you in this? If you're in the hospitality industry, what does this mean for you? So what are the opportunities within this? So this means a lot for lots of people within the cities, lots of opportunities of things changing. And you hear many stories of people when they've come out of the pandemic about they've had to pivot into something new, they're pivoting into something new, and that's becoming their new business model. I think there's lots of opportunities if we explore the scenarios and say, what does this mean for you, depending on your sector and where you happen to be. So lots in there, I think. I think in the public sector and within government, I think there's an opportunity. I seem to be saying this every other year when there's some major disruption goes on, is a window of opportunity when people might tolerate some really tough, hard decisions being made. Things that people wouldn't normally tolerate, but they will do when you say, we've no option, we're up against it, we need to take some hard decisions on this. So I think there's some really fundamental things that government can possibly do, but it might not have been in our previous time well received, but it might be better received now, so take the bit of opportunity. I think there's also an opportunity at this point to be brave and bold. Again, we hear that in the transformation strategy about being brave and being bold. It's a brilliant opportunity now to be brave and bold. I've seen it in previous strategies, I've seen it many before. Actually, we're going to do it. I think it's the main thing. The chambers, I know that wasn't the point of this, but I do think when I've been getting to know the chambers a bit more, that if there are a couple of areas in the chambers, I think, where when I talk about the retrofitness as one example, there are many opportunities. So I see in the report there's every city in the world is going to have to go through, and I've used retrofitting as an example. Retrofitting their commercial buildings, or residential buildings, the transport infrastructure, and the water sewage works, all that stuff needs to be done somewhere. Who on behalf of Scottish business who has the capability of doing that retrofitting work and all the aspects to it, who on behalf of them is going hunting the opportunities? On behalf of Scotland PLC or the Free Cities PLC. Who's doing that? Is that a job for the chambers? I don't just mean connecting people with, they may be buying something, you may have a capability, coming to an event. I'm talking real commercial, intelligent connections. I think chambers are brilliantly in place for that sort of thing, personally. And that means going out and developing those relationships with the people who have the money, knowing when they're going to be spending the money, what sort of capability they need, what sort of capability is missing within their particular city. How do we get our companies into those opportunities, I would say. And then when it comes to lots of the collaboration between business and government, I think this is a key role for chambers, I'm sure you've done already. Lots of the changes that are suggested within the report, you guys are integral to that, to making that change happen. Because somebody has to sit in the middle and bring together both parties on it. There's a place for everyone, and everybody in their place and playing to their strengths. I think there's a real opportunity for chambers in there. So that's me. Lots happened, not lots changed. I would suggest it's time to stop talking about this stuff and start doing some things, and let's grasp the opportunity of the situation that we've found ourselves in.
Brilliant.
And I'll stop there.